Hello and thank you for joining us on the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Cameroon, Jonathan trade barbs over Chibok girls as Boko Haram fighters kill soldiers, wound 14 in ambush and burn Emir's palace in Yobe State. Vehicles as APC PDP supporters clash in Kogi State. And later on the show, City of Manchester United in English Premier League defeats. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Gani Kayode Balogun, and Mojid Jamil. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us again. More than 2,000 days after the abduction of 276 schoolgirls in Chibok, BORNO State, on the 15th of April 2014, the factors responsible for the unfortunate incident persist. Blame game and buck passing are ongoing. At the weekend, former British Prime Minister David Cameron and former Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan engaged in mudslinging over efforts to rescue the Chibok girls. In the face of this front and back moves, the remaining 113 are yet to be freed, while the abductors, Boko Haram, continues to inflict terror. On the northeast, at the weekend, the insurgents killed and wounded some soldiers during the ambush in BORNO State. On Saturday, they burnt down the palace of Emir of Jajere in Yobe State. Did I get that name right? Jajere? Okay, in Yobe State. Okay, let's start from the Goodluck Jonathan perspective. David Cameron, as usual, any leader that serves in the office, they write their memo, and in his book reflected that Jonathan Goodluck did not respond on time when they were willing to help, to get those girls back. And it's not a new allegation. ACN at that time, it was ACN, APC at that time, also severally alluded to that fact that the president did not even believe that those girls were really abducted. Now, but Jonathan his own is now saying that, look, it's because I did not sign because I signed the anti-gay law, bill into law. That's one of the reasons Cameron might have been, talking like that. What do you make of this back and forth over the Chibok girls?
I'm aware that the president at that time didn't respond on time. In fact, it took him a few weeks before he even had a meeting with stakeholders, but no stakeholders on the matter. So the response of the government was slow, no doubt about it. But I'm not aware that he turned down an attempt by any country to help. Rather, the Nigerian government made spirited attempts to get foreign countries to help us. I'm not aware that any country attempted to help Nigeria and they were told, no, please don't do it. In fact, it got to a point that the president of Uganda said he was going to help to mobilize some African countries, including Togo, at that time, to set up a kind of standing force to help us combat terrorism on home soil. Don't also forget that the same president allowed Chadian troops to come into Nigeria, to come and fight on Nigerian soil, to help us reclaim communities that were taken by Boko Haram just before the election. And you see local governments like Dikwa, those local governments close to the border, Chadian troops helped us to reclaim those local governments. Their movement was swift. They are the most seasoned fighting force in West Africa, and they showed it when they came to Nigeria. They gave Boko Haram a bloody nose. Yes, they lost many of their soldiers, no doubt, but they were here to help. Not only that, South African mercenaries were brought in to help Nigeria. And I remember too that Al Jazeera ran a story in which the president announced that he had officially sought, the president at that time, that he had officially sought the help of America, Britain, Israel to help us locate the whereabouts of Chibok girls. So if indeed it was true, and I think that statement was made on May 5th, if indeed it was true that Cameron made efforts to locate those girls and Jonathan said no, why was there no denial of the claim by the Nigerian government that it had reached out to those countries to help? In fact, following up on that, on what Jonathan said, the then U.S. Secretary of State, John Kerry, was in Uganda, and he said the kidnapping, no, he was in Ethiopia, and he said the kidnapping of hundreds of children by Boko Haram is an unconscionable crisis, unconscionable crime, and we will do everything possible to support the Nigerian government to return the young women to their homes and to hold the perpetrators to justice. That was John Kerry speaking in Ethiopia. So if you accuse Jonathan of responding very slow to the attack, in fact, that was the source of his conflict with Shettima, where Governor Shettima eventually called him something that I don't want to say on air, you know, something about being buffoon or something, you know. He responded very, very slowly to it, and that was why we couldn't stop those. In fact, I learned that their vehicle broke down along the way, but because there was no response at all.
Their vehicle.
Yes, we could not stop them. Remember, even before we went to Chibok, the Chibok women, they confronted the wife of the then governor that, why has it taken you this long to come and see us? And the wife of Shettima burst into tears. So, yes, the response was slow, but to say a foreign country offered to help, and then we said, no, don't come and assist us, the things that happened after that does not suggest that Mr. Cameron was saying the truth.
GKB, what do you read between the lines?
Well, when this news came out 2 days ago, I went back to the Jonathan book, the one somebody penned for him, in relation to what happened when he was in power. And the conclusion I arrived at... What
do you mean somebody penned for him?
Someone will write for you.
I write for him.
At that level, they are too busy to be writing books.
Okay. So I came to the conclusion that maybe, because I've not seen the Cameron's book, so I'm not really sure about the context in which he was making that particular statement. So my conclusion was that maybe Cameron was talking about the period of relative inactivity on the part of the president before he came out all out to ask for help. Because you and I know there was a window of about 7 to 14 days that Jonathan was still in denial. He was still in denial that it was not true.
And that is enough to have...
but that was my conclusion. I just thought that maybe what Cameron was writing about was that window between the abduction and the time Jonathan came on board fully and then asked for help. That is what I think happened. But if that's not the case, then we have a serious case of a diplomatic problem that we have to solve as a nation. Because you cannot keep on chastising official secrets. Even in Britain, they have what they call Official Secrets Act that covers a particular period. And I assume that Mr. Cameron at this level will give us the lowdown instead of making a general statement. Instead of tell us, okay, on this day we reached out to Jonathan, he did not confirm. On this day we did, on this day we did, and that's how we came to this conclusion.
Mujid, if you remember, at that time, in 2014, it became a big bat between the PDP and APC, as at that time, in the sense that some people were of the notion that they did not kidnap anybody, that it was like a political thing to demarcate the government of the People's Democratic Party. Gimmick.
Yes, you know, I can't agree less with GKB and GD because, I mean, while I would say Cameron is very, very wrong in making those allusions in his book titled For the Records, but then, like GD and GKB said, the Jonathan administration was in self-denial for at least 1 week. I mean, no, this is not possible. This didn't happen. It's mere propaganda because we're approaching election. It's the handiwork of APC guys then who wants to win an election at all costs. But by the time reality actually dawned on the Jonathan administration, I mean, they have given enough time for the Boko Haram guys to settle down into the bush. Because from what Cameron now said in his book, from what I could piece together, I mean, he said they had that technology, they deployed some spy drones and tornadoes. There are some tornadoes that the way it works is that it will determine
the body heat
of any living mammal, any living thing in a radius of about probably 200 to 300 kilometers, depending on the capacity of that of the tornado. So that's what they deployed, and he said, quote and unquote, they were able to locate. They got thermal signals in an area that is 4 times the size. I mean, the size of Wales. I mean, yeah, that's what it said. So, but whether there was, they made overtures to us. Probably they made these overtures to the Jonathan administration when our government was still in self-denial. I mean, say, no, this thing didn't happen now. How can they take 276 kids? And I mean, nobody will see any trace, nobody will see anything. So, but probably that was what happened, but that there was official communication that, guys, we want to help you rescue these girls, and Jonathan said, no, I don't think so. But from even Jonathan had in his in a response by his media aide, Ikechukwu Eze, yesterday, he actually quoted the Theresa May administration as saying in an Observer publication in the UK that there was never a time that the British government made any overture to help Nigeria, and the Nigerian government denied. So, but I don't know whether there are personal things between David Cameron and Jonathan that they needed to sort out, apart from the fact that Jonathan is claiming that, well, because I refused to sign the gay law.
Beyond that.
So I want to believe it is beyond that. So they really need to tell us what is happening, because I doubt if, because now the Nigerian government under Jonathan actually sought for help, for assistance from the Israeli Prime Minister, from the British government, South African, and even US when Obama was there.
Okay, Papa Jide, how far has this government gone in terms of seeking same supports? Because if you remember our October 1st edition, you were quite frank, and you said it the way it was, that, look, we still have big problem in the Northeast. And from what we are reading, not even Maiduguri is not even limited to Borno State alone. Yobe State is also under constant attack. So how can we get the kind of supports at this time?
You see, the one thing we must, a lot of us see Obama as a hero. But when we are discussing help to African states, Obama behaved more or less like an enemy. Obama refused to sell weapons to Nigeria to fight Boko Haram. Yeah. That is there. It's not something that anybody...
Yes, he didn't even visit Nigeria for once.
It's not anything that someone can deny. He refused to sell weapons to us. And he kept talking about Leahy Law. And the Leahy Law stipulates that, look, where the military, for example, is guilty of human rights abuses, you don't sell weapons to them because they will turn it against their own people. Obama refused to sell weapons to us. Even when Goodluck Jonathan tried to get Israel to sell Chinook helicopters to us, Obama also vetoed it because, look, if I sell a weapon to you, you then can't sell to a third party without seeking my permission.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we wanted the Chinook helicopters can be used as ground attack helicopter and for troops insertion. So you can carry troops and drop them at a location with it. It has its own weapon system. It can actually be used to kill the enemy. Obama refused. He vetoed it. They made up their minds that, look, this Jonathan had to go. And their main reason was corruption. The friend that he had at that time was the Prime Minister of Israel. That one was prepared to help. In fact, the idea, oh, these Chinook helicopters, let's release it, was part of Israel trying to help Nigeria. But Obama vetoed it. Now, look at Trump. This is why some of us support Trump. And I'm happy my friend, Ikoto Akindele, is also a Trump supporter for one reason. Trump came into office, one of the first things he did was to invite our president to White House. And he said, look, anything that I need to do to assist you to defeat terrorism in your country, I will do. He went on without looking at the lay law, as if the lay law does not exist. He approved weapons sale to Nigeria. Obama didn't do that. So if Obama today wakes up, staggers out of bed, and he says, oh, during the Boko Haram crisis in Nigeria, we offer to do this, we offer to do that. People should ask questions. We are historians, for God's sake. Yes, whatever we say about Jonathan, in terms of his stewardship, there are things that we can't deny. Corruption, literally official brigadage was common. But there are things that we have to say as Nigerians. There are truths that we have to say. This same Cameron said the other day that, oh, Nigeria is a fantastically corrupt country. But he kept quiet about the fact that his own country is fantastically complicit in the looting of Nigeria, because they allow those who loot our resources to go and buy houses in their country. They leave them there. They do not, you do not help in any way to assist us to stop these fellows from finding haven in your country where they enjoy what they have stolen. You remember Al Jazeera did a documentary about Nigerians who have stolen money here, and they bought houses in the most expensive part of London. We know this now. What did Cameron do? Anybody can sit down and write a book. If a president can go all the way to Ukraine to go and buy weapons on the black market just because he wanted to win the war, I don't think it's fair for anyone to say, oh, during that we wanted to help, he refused. Then the question to ask is, what was the nature of the help? Because I know today, if you want to put troops on ground, maybe America, for example, wants to say, okay, we are bringing 2,500 troops or 4,000 to come and help you. We are going to be skeptical. Everyone will be skeptical about the possibility of foreign troops coming to your country, especially the West. Yes, especially the West. Some of the countries that have allowed them regretted it in the end.
Even so, having their stations very close to us.
You know, they've been flirting with the idea for some time. So people will have a second thought about it. But the truth is, if indeed we need to investigate whether Theresa May said that. Okay. If Theresa May indeed said that in a Telegraph story, then it leaves no doubt that Ralph Cameron was lying.
Jackson from Delta State, Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, brothers.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, I strongly believe that Cameron, the former British Prime Minister, is trying to stir out some certain, controversy in Nigeria. We are Nigerians, we are living witness to what happened within that period. I agree to some extent that the government didn't put on the necessary actions required. But then, for Cameron to come after 200 days, 2,000 days and say that he wanted to, what are the evidences available to us? The National Assembly was in operation during that period. Did he write the National Assembly that this is our intention? Were the British Parliament aware of what the decision of the British government here at that time to assist Nigeria? We have had a long-standing diplomatic relations with Britain. And there's no way they will come out to say this is the action they want to take to help us rescue our little sisters who we are taken away from their school by criminals. And then Nigerians will say, no, don't help us. If it were a private conversation between him and Mr. President of Nigeria, Jonathan, Nigeria want to see evidence of his position.
Yes.
Britain should stop sitting at the fence when issues that concern Nigeria happens and then they claim to be our friend. We are aware, as international relations practitioners, that Britain have always played a double role.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackson.
Before I keep quiet, President Buhari, when President Buhari took over, Cameron was still in office. If he was still in office, what did he do to assist us locate the CHIBOK girls? Because at the time President Buhari took over, those girls were still there. They had not been rescued. It was Buhari who began to make moves in October 2015 to rescue those girls. And some of those girls were eventually released in exchange for some high-caliber Boko Haram commanders. What did they, with the technology that they claim that they have, what did they try to do to help us? Since Jonathan was no longer there, and our president went to London, what did they try to do to help us to have those girls released, locate where those girls are? We need to know.
Mujid, 113 are yet to be freed, 2,000 days after. Any hope?
Hope is thinning away, and it's rather unfortunate. Some of these girls have been married off. Some of them have been sold to slavery, and some of them are not even willing to come back. Recall one of the girls that was actually that gained freedom, that already gave birth to.
Wanted to go back.
I mean, he wanted to go back to the father of to the husband, who is a Boko Haram person. So, it would be good if we can get some of these girls back, 113 of them, but I doubt if they will come back in one piece.
Some of them have become hardened. There was a video that Boko Haram released. Some of them were even carrying guns. They've been married to commanders of the...
Some of them have been used as bombers, as suicide bombers.
And you know, even at that age, it's easier to manipulate radicalize them.
And we are talking of 5 years ago. A lot of things have happened.
Maybe they were 40, they will have been 21 by now.
We still have, we had an attack in Yobe State, and the emir of Jajere, the palace was set ablaze. That means these people are still wreaking havoc and they are on the rampage.
Yes, I watched the Al Jazeera documentary on Somalia before it became totally lawless. And the level of similarity really got me in a flux, because what we are trying to say exactly was what is happening now. Total breakdown of law and order, people creating fiefdoms for themselves, and the ability to strike at the army of the country with impunity, that nothing will happen. These are signs of the beginning of a failed state. And don't forget, we're talking about BORNO State, that is the second biggest in terms of land mass, second biggest state in Nigeria, bigger than the entire Southeast. So we're talking about almost people cutting out areas of influence in a country within a country, in spaces bigger than some other states. That, to me, is the tragedy of the situation. And until and unless we come to the reality and we accept to ourselves that we are in the middle of a long-term war and treat it as such, I'm afraid we are going to lose out in the end.
What's the staying power of these people? And consistently, we've seen from one state to the other, from one military base to another. And we begin to, how are they getting funds to even recruit mercenaries?
Well, since having been officially, the group that is strong, the faction that is strong is the
SWAP.
Yes. The other faction, they don't have the kind of weapons at the disposal of these fellows, and they are not as deadly. The army fear this other group because they have access to weapons. Those weapons come in through Chad. I said before that Boko Haram will not allow the army to set up base in some parts of Borno State because those areas are their supply routes, supply channels. Whatever they will do, they will do to make sure you do not set up your base there. And if you put soldiers there,
Like where?
like Zari, like even Metele, all of those areas.
Yeah, the border.
All of those areas, they are not, you see, some of them are just sandy communities, they are without any value. But to them, they are communities of value. Look at these days, Gubio, Gajiram, Magumeri, consistently they are attacking those communities and we are unable to stop them. So the question is, what do they really want to do? Once the attacks continue, the people will flee to Maiduguri and other places, and Boko Haram will be comfortable that, okay, just as we have done, that out of 10 local government, 8 local government will succeeded in chasing people away. We will have this place to ourselves. I always talk about the hometown of the Speaker of Borno State. He cannot go home now. I'm sure he's watching me. There are many of them, like, they can't go home. When we continue to deny that, oh, this is not true, let them go home. Senator Kiari cannot go home. That's a fact. So this is the thing. They've taken those communities, they are holding on to those communities. When you put soldiers there, the next day they go to kill the soldiers. This is what is happening. And ambushes are now very, very common. On a daily basis. Ambushes are common, soldiers are being killed in ambushes. It is one of the results of the super camp. Because when you create the super camp, you still must move around. You want to do admin work, you want to move from this place. When you move around, they are waiting. All the checkpoints are gone.
Okay. All right. Still to come. Vehicles burnt as APC PDP supporters clash in Kogi State. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's your multiple award-winning program, Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. The November 16th governorship election in Kogi State is about 5 weeks away, and the grounds for a peaceful or otherwise poll are gradually being wet. At the weekend, violence broke out between supporters of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Musa Wada, and those of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in ANKPA. While some people sustained injury in the fracas, some vehicles were burnt. As expected, the two camps are trading blames over the incident. And Mujid, we projected before, and even the resident electoral commissioner in his submission is talking about, you know, this election in Kogi State. And we're getting a feel that, look, it's going to be if care is not taken or the security are not up to their game, that it might be a violence-riddled election.
Yeah, in most
parts, if fear is not taken, or even if fear is taken,
whatever happens, I think we need to. We have decided that we'll release Jide to go home.
Even if fear is taken.
No. He's a legitimate man.
No. We'll release Jide. We'll loan him back to them.
To do what now?
To help, because it needs to really mediate. But seriously speaking,
no, Dr. Kardify
you don't like him.
He's happy to have me.
Yes.
And he does not want to lose me. So, to that extent, we are in conversation and he has told me to stay where you are.
Okay.
Now, so I'm happy to stay in Ekiti where I am.
Okay, fine. Now, seriously speaking, the PDP governorship candidate, Musa Wada, was in, started his campaign, he went to ANKPA. ANKPA is the hometown of the deputy speaker, who is an APC stalwart. Now, over the weekend, you see, things like this do happen. I recall in 2014, a similar thing happened. You see, when the convoy, the security of the PDP governorship candidate now must have been fortified. So you have a convoy. And normally when you are going for campaigns, you see a lot of vehicles. And innocently, the deputy speaker also went home. He also has his own convoy. And somewhere along the line, they ran into each other. I mean, you can imagine what will happen. But I don't think our politics should degenerate to such a level.
So run into each other and start shooting each other.
It's just about 5 weeks into the election. I learned a lecturer of the Kogi State University, ANKPA, was badly injured, and several other people in the violence that ensued. So I think the federal government should do something, because we can appeal to the state governor now, because it's also a party.
An interested party.
It's an interested party. It's contesting an election. I mean, they should allow peace to reign. These are the same people they want to govern, so they shouldn't waste lives and property. But then we have said it several times on this program that the Kogi election is going to be very, very hot, and just 5 weeks to the election, I mean, we are already seeing signals that care must be taken. The government need to beef up security in Kogi to ensure that lives and property are safe before the elections. It will continue to get hotter, I mean, for during the election in Kogi.
GKB, when is this okay for our polity? Must it be a do or die thing?
Well, for the November 6th election in Kogi, I'm afraid it is a do or die thing. The governor must come back, and the PDP must also put up a good show. So, incidentally, Kogi is the latest theater for this political battle. And you and I know that the way it's going is going to get worse before it gets better. My only prayer is that the security personnel drafted to the states will try as much as possible to put the gladiators in check. Because this is just a first salvo in a long line of things like that. Because when you say that a campaign is coming to your town, I'm sure the deputy speaker was aware that PDP is coming to town.
Yeah.
And he was aware that that's the route they are going to take. So that they met innocently, to me, is just a convenient excuse to look for trouble. And I expect that these things will be repeated in other areas in the next 2-3 weeks. So it's up to the security personnel to ensure that they separate the gladiators in such a manner that they will lessen the collateral damage that is eventually going to happen.
Why must it be between PDP and APC? Judy?
Mm-hmm. Are they not the two parties?
They were not parties now.
Which other party do you know that is capable of winning an election in Kogi? If it's not won by PDP, then it has to be APC. You know, PDP had long years of dominance of politics in that state, and now APC has taken over, and they too are desperate to take the state from the APC. So it's going to be tough. I'm seeing the chief of staff to the governor is saying something here that the two ANKPA guys and 3 ANKPA sons that vandalized Dr. Usman Ogbo's vehicles will be practically used as scapegoats by the authorities. And 1 million Musa Wadas can't do jack. If he messes up, they will arrest him and dock him. That's the candidate of the PDP will be arrested. This is not a threat, but an assurance. I speak as an eagle blood who seeks to win fair and square. If you know Musa Wada from Dekina, kindly call them and caution them. They are taking the tiger by the tail. So this kind of belligerent language has been common in Kogi now as we approach the elections. Remember, the candidate of the PDP said nobody has monopoly of violence. So it means that they too are ready for violence. I think somehow both parties think that the way to win is to resort to violence. And the unfortunate thing in Kogi is that when people are arrested, even for killing people on election day, the police will stupidly go and release those people. It's in Kogi that is happening. That's why people have now seen Kogi as a place where you can do whatever you like and get away with it. What is the point in releasing people who even confess on tape that they kill people? What is the point? So for them to be unleashed on election day or what? We cannot continue to behave like barbaric people. Elections are supposed to be like carnival, something that all of us will be happy about. You don't go to witness the election in the UK and see people killing themselves. It never happens. Even in Ghana here, you went there, you covered the election there. How many people's heads do you see rolling on the floor? So why must we kill ourselves? Go back to the last election. You will see how many people were killed, especially in Kogi East. So is that what we should expect now? Because clearly the battle will be in Kogi East in this election. Whoever dominates Kogi East.
The area, that's, is it Gala?
That's the Gala land.
That's the,
they have the greater
highest,
population.
population.
Whoever dominates the election in Kogi East will win the election. It's as simple as that. Once it is free and fair, not election where figures are written, no. Because if it's possible to simply write figures. And if if an announcement is made, given the trend now in Nigeria, that is the end. You go to court, you waste your time.
And money.
You waste your time and money. The lawyers simply take the money and go. But the way it is, the election will be decided in Kogi East. That's why you are not hearing that, oh, in Kogi West, people are slaughtering themselves. It's the same Kogi East that they are trying to turn to a battleground because they see that place as a place where the election will be won and lost. You know? So if you can dominate that area, you've won the election. So, but it doesn't mean that the gladiators from that area, Wada, or even the chief of staff, Edward Onoja, it doesn't mean that they should be
deputy governorship candidates.
But we still know him as a
chief of staff.
He has not become deputy governor, he has not become, because the matter is still before the courts. He has not become deputy governor. He's still chief of staff, except if he tells us today that he has rejected the appellation of chief of staff. That's what we know him to be. So what we are saying, we don't want violence. I want to be able to come around and monitor that election. But it will be difficult for me to come. Because I'll be targeted.
Nobody
can't even. We notify me, will not even release me.
On the spot assessment.
Security to go.
So this is the thing. Let us have peace.
Don't be afraid.
Whoever wins, we accept it. That's the way it should be.
I think elections in this part of the world are still a bit localized.
Let me just quickly take Issa. Issa is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Issa.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity this evening.
All right, go ahead, please.
Babajide, thank you very much. You are welcome back to Lagos. I've been following you when you traveled to Kano last time.
Okay.
We thank God you came back successfully.
Amen. Thanks.
My position is I'm from Kogi State, Dikina precisely.
Dikina local government.
Yes, so everything that is happening there, I'm fully aware of it. But the question is, the APC in Kogi, they are ready for violence. PDP, they are ready for violence. What is the position of our Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces? That is the question. We have a president. We have somebody who is in charge of our security. If you go to Kogi now, Kogi is like Somalia because of election and corruption. So now that election is coming, what is the position of Commander-in-Chief? Because the security of this country is in his hand, including Kogi State. Thank you, sir, for giving me the time.
All right. It's,
No, he has raised a very valid point. But then, see, Buhari will not interfere in a local election, whether APC wins or loses. But then he must ensure that we have adequate security. Now, that's...
neutral security.
Of course, neutral security. So that...
You mustn't just look away.
Yeah, that the people's will must prevail on election day. Because I could see that, like Jide said, there's a lot of tension in Kogi East. And that's where I think security operatives should focus their attention. Why not leaving the other parts of the state? Because that is the battleground because of the voter population in that part of the state. And I mean, they have made that the battleground where they need to fight for votes. And you can see the statement from the deputy governorship candidate and also the chief of staff. I mean, that kind of statement can
they are ready for war.
It can actually inflame the state. I think they should be cautioned. There's a way INEC calls the major stakeholders and talk to them and advise them. Even the Inspector General of Police will still go there and also, and talk to them so that let them sign a bond.
In fact, that of Kogi, they should do it like 3 times.
Yes, and the traditional rulers too, they should call them and put the security of the state in their.
We are not hearing these kind of things about Bayelsa. It's just Kogi that we are involved.
Yes, because the election is also happening in Manchester, same day.
GKB, with what you are saying, we are looking at a situation whereby from the vibes we've been getting from the court cases and everything, so it's like if you don't get it on election day, just forget it. Won't that notion fuel violence?
The Bauchi governor just won his own today.
Everybody's winning. Because it's almost a
that's why people want to win on election day.
Yes,
because
he just won his own. This afternoon.
Possession is 99% in law. So if you possess the tickets, the other man can do whatever he wants. And I think the courts too are falling in line with this line of thoughts, which to me is dangerous. But based on the Kogi thing, I think there's a need to quickly move and cool down the temper, as you see on the streets. Because this thing, I don't see any outcome that will pay the Kogi people if they are all dead.
All right, moving on now. The red and the blue house of the city of Manchester have shared age-long bitter rivalry in English football, but the two teams from the city, Manchester City and Manchester United, are in accord for the wrong reasons in the ongoing English Premier League. Both of them are united in defeats. At the weekend, the defending champions, City, suffered a 0-2 defeat in the hands of Wolves at the Etihad Stadium, while United lost to Newcastle United at the St. James's Park. Manchester definitely needs a revival. That's when we are talking about Manchester, that's both United and Manchester City.
The citizens and the other half.
The blue half and the red half.
It's like we are counting down for the exit of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. From the looks of things, the last time I checked, I think Manchester United 12th position, 9 points in 8 matches, and the results he has been churning out is not impressive, to say the least.
Yes, I blame the board. I blame the board of the club for what has happened. When Mourinho wanted Perisic was the best crosser in Europe. He wanted someone who could deliver crosses for Lukaku, because Lukaku thrives on being fed. He's not the sort of player who will go to the midfield and take the ball, you know. He thrives on being fed, and if he does not get service, he doesn't score many goals.
So Lukaku.
So instead of giving him Perisic, just because of a few £1 million, they refused to buy Perisic. Today, Perisic is in Bayern. He's playing for Bayern Munich. Mourinho wanted to fortify his defense. He wanted Harry Maguire. They refused to give him money to buy Harry Maguire. The same Manchester United sold several players and refused to replace them, especially midfielders. One would have thought that this guy from Sporting Lisbon, the Portugal playmaker, would be signed. Every newspaper was reporting that he was coming. Sporting Lisbon was going to sell their free-scoring midfielder. But Manchester United refused to buy. And what we later read was that, they didn't buy the guy because he gives the ball away too much. Okay, you have a midfield that is so wide open to all comers. They can't stop teams from beating Manchester United because the midfield has to be effective to protect the back four.
Having one of the best goalkeepers
if you like,
in the world.
buy the best defenders in the world. If the defenders don't have fantastic midfielders to screen them, they are going to be conceding goals. They are going to be losing. That's what we have now. refusal. The team is short on effective substitutes. Arsenal today has effective substitutes. You have someone like that little boy, Saka. That's role. Arsenal has other players who can play that role. Arsenal has other players who can play the role of the captain. You know, Xhaka. You can see that these days, sometimes Torreira will come in the second half. So Arsenal has depth this season than before. Although they still have a Mickey Mouse defense. They're still shipping goals anyhow. So, which means that they too will struggle to finish in the top 6. But Manchester United will struggle even to finish in the top 12. If they are not careful, because the next 2 games, let's look at the next 2 games. They are playing Liverpool and Norwich. If they win, if they lose those 2 games, and the people behind them win, then they've been sucked into the relegation battle. They are making money. They recorded record-breaking profit. But on the field, they are recording losses. So it means that those Americans who the club was unfortunate to be bought by them are only interested in the money, the Glazers. They're only interested in the money that they can make out of the club.
It's business.
GKB, Manchester City, I don't know what's happening, but if you want to win the Premier League now, you must have this kind of Liverpool's attitude. The last time they drew maybe 1 or 2 matches and they sustained another from like an underdog team.
Yeah, I think they've not replaced the company.
Wolves.
They've not replaced company, and there's nobody in the team right now that can lead on the field.
Really?
Yeah, you think that somebody like
they have.
Yeah, there's a difference between playing very well and leading.
I have a leader.
And there's nobody on that team right now that is showing that kind of. Even Raheem Sterling, that is playing exceptionally well this season, is not the type of player that can motivate others to come forward. And of course, we all know that the Argentine guy is always having injury problems.
Aguero.
So the possibility now, incidentally, the coach himself said it last year, that the league will be decided by the first 8 matches and the last 8 matches. And this is the 8th match. And so they have to really put up their game to get something out. Because like I said, unless they buy a player in the January window, or unless they promote somebody who's willing to take on the role that Vieira played for us now, or Roy Keane play for, they need it. That's what they need right now. It's not for lack of players or lack of depth. They have that. But that belief, that self-belief, that we are the citizens of Manchester, and we are the better half of Manchester, it is what is lacking.
We said it at the beginning of the Premiership that between Lampard of Chelsea and Ole of Man U, somebody will exit the Premiership first, and I think it's becoming very glaring now.
But what happened? Ole, as at the time he took over as the coach, back to back, he won like 10 matches.
Yeah,
playing like that, you know.
You see, the thing is that there's something that
found out.
The Premiership is so unique. Look at what is happening to Tottenham too. I mean, despite the praises showered on Arsenal by Jide, I'm not impressed. The kind of match they played on Monday against last Monday against Man U. I mean, you could see that the 2 teams need help. Yeah, unlike the kind of spirit with which
they defeated 10 years ago.
Yes,
but they defeated Bournemouth, and Bournemouth is a good team.
It's a good team, but I watched that game. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm not impressed. You see a Liverpool playing, and you relax. I mean, there's something about football. Look at when Leicester won that.
Liverpool struggled against Sheffield, though.
Yes, they struggled.
They needed the goalkeeper's howler to win the match.
Yes, they won that.
So it's not in every Liverpool match that you sit back to enjoy.
No.
They too much struggle to grind results.
But maybe it is luck that is on their side. But for you to take out of 8 out of 8, points. 24 points. I mean,
I think doing something right.
No, you must be doing something right, and luck is on your side. So I think maybe for United and City, they need to pray for luck, because we can't rule out the element of luck, and also change their tactics. Maybe at the window, the January window, let them buy some wingers. I mean, who can hold the midfield for them, I think, for Manchester United. But for City, I think City just needs a little more tactics and get themselves organized.
I would say that it's not so bad for Man City today. It's just a team just...
Because of the standard.
But you see, given Liverpool's consistency, falling behind by as many as 8 points is dangerous. Because City are behind.
That's the gap now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So City are behind now. It used to be 5 points and then they lost. City are behind now. You know, because they have lost, they lost to Norwich. They drew with Tottenham. They lost yesterday. Those are points dropped. Whereas Liverpool has not dropped a single point. That's why Liverpool is ahead by 8 points. And if you are ahead by 8 points, if Liverpool, for any reason, takes these 8 points up to December, and the terrible grind of December, they survive it, of course, you can say that they will win the league for the first time.
Because last year, they just lost with 1 point.
Yes, they lost by 1 point. And in that match, it was the same Leicester City that came to Anfield to play 1-1 draw. This time around, they wanted to do the same thing again. Yeah. But somehow, they had, the penalty for the tackle on Mane got them the penalty that they scored. So this is the thing. City can still bounce back, but they need Liverpool to drop points for them to bounce back. I think that when both teams play against one another, whether they like it or not, points will be dropped.
That's it.
So the league is a marathon, anything can still happen, but it's clear that
I've seen the pattern.
The Glazers have overreached themselves. They've succeeded in destroying the tradition of a great club, and they're about to turn a great club to a mid-level club that nobody feels proud to watch his games anymore. In fact, one journalist was complaining that this is the 4th Manchester United game that he will be told to go and cover. And he said, you must do something about my roster. So nobody wants to watch turgid football. They want to watch entertaining football. And Manchester United is not playing that now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went on a long winning streak. Yeah. But he's no longer playing the way he used to play. In that time, that energy has faded. So, and he's also not helped by the injury to key players. And why they will not strengthen that midfield, I still don't understand. You had all the opportunities in the world to buy Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, a scoring midfielder. They refused. All the teams that are doing well, they always buy players at the right time. Even Arsenal, that we always imagine that they cannot buy big players. You saw what they did with Pepe, even though he's looking like a Mickey Mouse midfielder. But at least they bought him. Maybe he will still come up good.
Also,
you know, maybe he will still come up good. But they paid big money for him. Even though they are going to pay that money over a period of 5 years. I've never seen that kind of contract. But Arsenal managed to do it.
What are we looking at? The first one now, what are we looking at? Are we projects right now?
Like you said, let's wait till January. We didn't know those will be contenders. But for now, my money is on Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's on Man City.
Looks like this year, yeah.
And all things being equal. The rest will not work alone this year.
When it is your year, everything you do
turns to gold.
Yeah.
When you play badly, you still manage to win. So that's to show that God is on your side.
And when you want to lose, VAR will help you.
When you need to win.
All right, I'd like to thank you, Moji Jamiu, MJ in the house. Thank you for your contribution. The Osiare GKB.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program, and also watch Journalist Hangouts on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangouts at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.